So I want to extend a special welcome to all of you CEOs out there, the Christmas Easter onlys. Christmas Easter onlys are the backbones of a lot of church. It gives us so much joy to see people who choose this family to be with. You could be anywhere. You could be nowhere. Some of you want to be somewhere else, maybe at brunch or something. But you don't get fancy hats on a hike. You know, you get fancy hats here, you get great singing. So I'm glad that you're here. Whatever the Spirit has in store for you today, I hope it touches your soul. And also thanks to everyone who has been so helpful. This is a really busy time in church life, and we've had volunteers spring cleaning. We've had volunteers doing extra singing. We've had worship leaders at Maundy Thursday and Good Friday. We've had the AV crew doing like mini services, people bringing in chairs. If more people come in, I think they have to sit in the front, so that's like real punishment at church. But yeah, thank you to everyone who has made this community stronger together over this time. Okay, so here's how I approach Scripture, life. It's all the same to me. The way I approach when I hear some words or read some words. What do they say? What do they mean? Why do they matter? So when someone's telling me something from their heart, like listen to the words, but then what do they mean in their context, and why does it matter that they're telling those words to me? That's the direction I go with most everything. So this morning, what did they say? The last and the boldest of John's I am statements, when Jesus says, I am this. Our church has been doing a series for 7 weeks now on all of those phrases. Some of you have heard about it every Sunday, the times that Jesus really emphasizes, I am fill in the blank. He emphasizes in Greek in this gospel, I am the one that you are looking for. I am the shepherd, the gate, the way of life. I am the resurrection. Even when you think, many of us, we fall into the trap of thinking that life is lost. I am the resurrection to that type of thinking. I am the life even when you feel so empty. I give you fullness. I am new life in a world that's so filled with grief and fear, and when all you want to do is curl up, I stand up. So Jesus emphasized that in New Testament Greek, which is why when Theodore read it, it was bolded up above you, I am. But those words also have a subtle hint in the Hebrew, in the Old Testament kind of language. Because I am is an allusion to God's very name. Maybe some of you remember when Moses asked, God, what's your name? Like, just who are you? Really, like the you, that's you. I believe in you, but who are you? And God responds, Ayeh asher ayeh, I am that I am. Or some will translate it, I will be what I will be. And that is God's full name. So like when God's mom gets mad at God, and yells and says, Ayeh, asher, ayeh, what did you do to Job? Like that's the full name right there. That's a deep cut Bible joke right there for those of you who've been around. I am what I am. But then, after that story, for the rest of the Old Testament, stories and lessons, weird history, poetry, things you don't want to read in church, things that you remember from Sunday school, whenever Hebrews just wanted to talk to God one-on-one, just talk to their friend, they would shorten that from Ayeh asher ayeh to Yahweh. It's just a different verb tense of that first word. It sort of means I am, just I am. More so, it just means being is. It's not conjugated with like a gender thing. It's just being is. The world is. Or more poetically, because of the way the Hebrew letters they chose, it kind of means breath of being. It's almost the way on Friday night, if you caught Pastor Sarah, she was here, and she came up to pray, and she said, Dear Yahweh. You could catch that. It's the sound of breath itself. If you want to be mystical about it, if any of you have a mystical bone in your body, the word Yahweh means I am the sacred breath that lies at the heart of all things, the whole world, all feelings, all things, all hopes, all dreams. I am the sigh of a content baby. I mean, moms, when you're a new mom and that baby just keeps going, and then when it finally just... That's a dream right there. I am the breeze through new aspen leaves. I am the excitement that pulses through a crowd. I am that thing that just seems, this might sound heartbreaking, but it can be so precious in the moment when you're with a loved one and they die and something goes. That breath that goes. It's amazing to watch. I'm that thing. I'm the sacred breath at the heart of all things. So for those of you who are jumping in for the first time, now you have the background of what the Bible is saying. For those of you who needed a little bit more description from these last 7 weeks, this is the full mystery and symbolism that Jesus is alluding to. And it goes like this. What he's saying is, whatever you're looking for in life, here's a thing that gives life. That awe that stops time, the sacred breath that makes things matter in the world, to you and to all of us. That's what you're looking for. That's what's here. It's right here for you. That bread that sustains you, the vine that supports you, it's here. The sacred breath that you can experience in Jesus, that is the resurrection from anger and bitterness and pain and anxiety. When you come up from that, that's a resurrection. I am the life renewed that we all hope for. Now, that story that Theodore read, that happened in Bethany, not on Easter. It was a little bit before that. But then later, he will walk 2 miles down the road, 2 whole miles. And you heard the children's message. You know the story. You know what happens. They experienced, all the people that followed and trusted and loved Jesus the most, they experienced some kind of renewal like I've just described. Something happened to them so profound that they just couldn't really explain it. If they could have explained it, they would have just said it. But they didn't just say it. They sang it, and they acted it, they ate around, they talked about it. They just tried their best to put these things that can't be put into words, they put them in words. And it's the same when you have a flash of realization that just comes out of nowhere and just changes who you are. You might have worked for years to become this person, but it's always a flash that changes everything. Or we've been to this place of renewal when we learn something about yourself, some inner strength you didn't know you had, but it calls us to a new place, to new dreams, to new healing, to new vision. And when you've tried to explain it to the people who matter most to you, you've said, it's just sort of like this. Or you say, well, you know that song? It's kind of like that song. Or you say, I don't know, it's just like there was a switch that just got flipped and I was a different person. In that same way that every one of you has experienced, Jesus' followers tried to explain what renewal felt like in all kinds of ways. They all tried. They all had a shot at trying to explain it. So some said things like his body came back to life, just like before. But others said he was like a spirit that just walked through the door. Those are pretty different explanations, but they're trying to get to the same feeling that what looks like the end is only a beginning. Some people said, this is proof that God's love cannot be buried. Others said, well, now no things are going to be buried. All things will be made new. And neither idea is right or wrong. It's just ways they're trying to grasp at the wonder, the deep wonder of life. Some who were really into church and some people have spent so much time at church that church annoys you. Hey, man. Those people they're in there and they said, this is the final sacrifice, so we don't have to play any more religious games. But there are other people who were so tired of church being stuck in these walls, and they've spent their whole lives trying to embody love and resist powers of authority. But it's really hard to sustain that when all you're doing is being mad. And both of those people said, look, this is how I can sustain my vision for new life, my dream for a new world. Some said that it made them, that Jesus and this revolution here made them feel cleansed and free. Others said it made them feel like they finally belonged where they fit. New life takes a lot of room for everyone to feel a little bit different about it. And these first people who experienced resurrection, just across the board, they were just blown away. They were confused. They were doing their best to put together this idea that Jesus, he'd preached and he lived it with insight and revelation, and they didn't quite understand it until that switch got flipped. And for the history of the church, for 2,000 years, people have been blown away by the same things. And sure, very too often, people end up just arguing about what it means and what we should believe and what you should do and who should do this and how you should vote and all those things, probably because we just tend to forget the power of that sacred breath when we ignore it for a while. Then we try to capture it. But in our better moments, when the church in our better moments, when a good family in their best moments, when a crowd of friends are having a great moment, when a crowd of people are out there testifying to what they believe in, and this spirit just bubbles up around all of them, and you are somehow stronger than each of you are individually, all of us, with whatever explanation we want to use, we live out this resurrection. We live out this power whenever we create community, whenever we move toward healing, whenever we create justice, whenever we trust in the power of love. I'm certain that many of you have had these moments of transformative grace in your life where someone saw something in you that you didn't know was there, and now it's alive. Or after all these years, you've just been going down the grind, wondering what this is all about, and now your purpose is unveiled, and you realize your life had been building to it for all this time, almost like this was my destiny. Or somehow, one of the great miracles of humankind, something clicks in your life and you can set down the shame that you've been carrying for decades. Something happens in your life. One song, one beautiful vista, one just extra breath, and somehow you can take that trauma and you realize you don't have to carry it anymore. What a change, what a blessing. As far as I can make it out, whatever happened with Lazarus in this story, whatever happened with Jesus on the first Easter morning, he is telling us something. Jesus is telling us something about the world that we all inhabit. Jesus is telling us something about the lives that we all live. He is telling us that the sacred breath at the heart of all things, that energy, that force, that spirit, that whatever you want to call it, this pulsing of creation is in the business of new life. It is in the business of growth. It is about the miracle of being content where we are and being able to step beyond that to something transcendent. The I amness of everything around us. The being itself, when you leave from loss, when you leave pain, when you enter dreams, when you enter deep relationships, it always wants us to keep going towards something richer, holier, more still, more joyful, even if that means slowing down our rhythms to less pressure, less striving, less need for something more. And certainly, obviously, Easter's not all some great story where everything works out at every time. They face struggles. The minute that they had the resurrection event, they face struggles. There are setbacks on our journeys. Many things will break. Everything in your world will either die or end up in a landfill. Everything. But that's not to say that the path of life itself is not always continuing to grow and evolve and be enlightening. The good news is if you choose to embrace it, the world at its whole and at its essence always moves toward peace, always moves toward wholeness. And the even better news is you're invited. You're welcome. You are the one who is called to come along. On this Easter morning, whether you experience that bubbling up of excitement from chocolate bunnies or lily flowers or from an ancient story that has moved billions of people's hearts, you are invited to new life with peace and with wholeness. Come out of your tombs and partner with those hopeful rhythms of an eternal resurrection. May it be so.